Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Entertainment Headquarters, and welcome to another Into the Darkness special. This one is going to be dedicated to a much-loved Italian horror franchise, and for me, these are definitely some of my favourite, cult horror films, and I'm talking about demons. To talk about demons, of course, I have my usual Into the Darkness co-host and great friends and fellow collaborators, Mr. DJ Anubis of the Metal Tavern Radio, Mr. Anthony Jordan of Movies and Gaming, and of course, Mr. Tony of the Dead. So, how's everybody doing? Are we ready to talk some demons?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yes. So, first and foremost,
I think we're all dealing with demons right now.
Well, the way the world's going, the world certainly seems like it's full of demons right now. But that's for another discussion down the road. But for now, I'll ask each and every one the usual question I always ask. Mr. DJ, who was your first time seeing demons?
Probably definitely had to be the early 90s. Once I saw Argento Suspiria, I really went down the rabbit hole with his movies and started, watching his back catalog of stuff. And even though he's not the director of these movies, he's the writer, and so he's involved in some way, obviously. So very close relationship with Bava. So the fact that he was involved maybe automatically go and watch these films, and you can tell even with just as a writer, you can still see some of the influence there with not only the aesthetic of the movies, but the soundtracks and everything else like that. What's up, Red Spirit?
Yeah, it's Anthony Jordan.
Like Anubis, the first one I seen was Suspiria, but it was either last month or in January. Like Anubis just did a watch party, and this was one of the films he put on, and I was really impressed by it. There's just something about Italian horror that gets often incorrectly labeled as just splatter fests, but it just has this thick, unique atmosphere that's so much more than its reputation.
Mr. Tony of the Dead.
I don't really remember when I saw this for the first time. Probably a couple years ago, maybe. I might have had to received it in the mail to review or something like that. I don't remember, but it always stuck in my head since I saw them, though. So.
Yeah, I cannot remember watching these when I discovered these. What I do remember, though, is when I did watch them, I was terrified because I had not seen anything like this for a long time. Like I must have. When did these come out in the 80s? I think. How old would I have been? I would have been. Would have.
Wow.
Oh, he's never seen these.
They're definitely on Shudder. They might be on Tubi too. I don't know, but
the first movie's on Tubi. The second one I actually watched free on YouTube.
Okay, there you go.
So there you go, Red Spirit. If you do want to see them, one is on Tubi, one is on YouTube.
Pluto as well.
But so the first film, I cannot remember where I watched them, but what always fascinated me and what captivated me about it was the poster. The poster for me just stands out. Just, these demonic beings coming up the staircase, which is actually a part of the movie. We do actually see that particular scene in
which
the
is
movie.
So interesting too, because it's got the whole with the glowing eyes. It reminds me so much of the Terminator. From Terminator 1 with the when he's barging into their bunker, to the flashback. You got the glowing eyes. So it reminded me a lot of that a little bit.
All right. So let's get cracking and talk about Demons. So, Demons is a 1985 Italian horror film directed by Lamberto Bava, produced and co-written by Dario Argento and starring Urbano Barberini and Natasha Hori. The plot follows two female university students who, along with a number of random people, are given complimentary tickets to a mysterious movie screening, where they soon find themselves trapped in the theatre with a horde of ravenous demons. So, straight away, the plot and the concept just grabs at me. You know, the fact that you've got these young university students that decide to go to the theatre after, you know, getting these mysterious tickets. And the opening sequence is quite eerie. You know, you get one of the cast members walking down and she bumps into the guy with the metal mask on. So straight away, you know, is this legit? Is everything kosher? Is he real? Is he just promoting a movie, or is there something a lot more sinister behind it? And of course, her and, like you say, our friend end up going to the movie theatre, but when they go there, when they sit in the row, they are also, you know, they kind of bump into these two young, handsome guys who they end up getting connected with, and they're sitting watching the movie. But as they're sitting watching the movie, you are introduced to a number of other characters who are sitting watching the movie. Like, this guy is hilarious.
And this goes back to an example of what we were talking about the other day. His name is Tony,
Yes.
right? And look what happens to him. He's badass, though.
Yeah.
Let's,
As long as he's not called Kevin, I couldn't give a fuck.
let's be real though. Which one of us here, if we were in this movie, let's be realistic, there's a good chance all four of us, ooh, a showing to an unknown movie. It might be a test screening, or it might be an obscure film I've never seen. We'd have all wound up there.
Oh, definitely. I would have. But as soon as the title came up with the Crow, Anubis would have been out of there. If it was the Crow remake,
Yeah.
he would have grew wings and flew.
Yes, you know it.
Yes. So, Anthony, what's your opinion of the opening of the movie and the mystery behind it all?
I think it's brilliant. It's very simple, just minimalistic, but it just immediately hits you with a lot of mystery about what's going on. It's a great example of how less is more.
Absolutely. Tony.
The beginning's very, very, very cool. I mean, the music is really kind of keeps you in the moment. It's like I could like walk around house, do 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 do, you know, like that. I just the soundtrack is great, but I just always think, like, how do people get in these situations where they're alone in the subway?
Shout out to a friend of mine, Doomsday Script.
Hello, Doomsday.
Hello, welcome. But
Donkey Kong.
Yes. So what I love about it is that as they're sitting there, you're getting the story of these four people that dig up the tomb of Nostradamus, and they talk about the story of this demonic curse that would happen if someone's cut by this mask that's obviously from an ancient time, hence the mask here. And what ends up happening, of course, the events that are transpiring in the movie begin to happen in the movie theatre, which is like totally bizarre that these things begin to happen. The first one affected is this lovely lady.
Not so lovely there.
Not so lovely, but
Honey, you got real ugly.
yes. So she literally, she gets scratched by the mask, and because she gets scratched, what happens on screen basically starts happening in the theatre, where someone got scratched by the mask, they start to bleed by the side of the face. It then starts to progress where they won't stop bleeding till they slowly turn into this demonic demon, which then attacks the cast of the movie. So she ends up going to the bathroom. As she's in the bathroom, you start to see this horrific transformation into this horrific demon creature. Mind the special effects for its time at the time in this movie were brilliant. Like when you see in the face and it started pulsing, and then you're just seeing it splatter, and you're just seeing the blood in the gook oozing from her cheek was outstanding. It gave me vibes of like something like Brain Dead.
I don't know, but like I love the effects when the fingernails are extending and the blood's like just pouring out. Like that is such a great effect. In
my favorite is the teeth, the way the demon teeth come through and the human teeth are falling out.
Yep. That's what I like. That's I was gonna say that's what I like, the demon teeth. But what ends up happening, she is then infected and becomes a demon. And then Tony's sitting there with the other lady that he came to the theatre with. She then goes to check on her in the bathroom. She's then scratched across the face. She ends up running out of the theatre. She's basically running all over the fucking place to try and find help. She ends up getting to the point where she's behind the screen of the actual movie. In this horrendous screams, it's scary, it's gory, there's people on the edge of the seat, it's pretty horrific. And she ends up coming flying through the screen. And when she lands on the floor, she sits up and she suddenly now, just like our friend, is starting to turn.
She's still kind of hot there.
But it's as you see, Ashes beginning to turn, the teeth begin to fall out, the fingernails start to pulse with blood out of the ends of them till they start to extend. And the next thing you know, all hell breaks loose. And it's basically a fight for survival between the demons and the rest of the people in the theatre. Tony is hilarious. He just wants every fucker to die or get hurled over the balcony. You also have that scene with that blind man who's in the theatre with his girl or his daughter who's making out with somebody behind the curtain that gets strangled to death.
I don't think that's his daughter.
Was it his wife?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. She was just fucking around with that dude behind his back because he couldn't see.
But it must show you how dedicated he was to his wife, because he's fucking blind and he's sitting in a movie theater.
That's the running joke. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's dedication when you can't fucking say anything. But overall, the whole plot for this film is just bonkers. It gets crazier and crazier. Anubis, what's your up to now? What's your opinion to this film?
Love it. So, like you said, it's a great opening. The guy with the mask, very mysterious, and at the same time, it's kind of weird because she starts out. Our lead lady, I think, is Cheryl or one of them, who's initially thinking he's like following her, trying to harm her, and then finally bumps into her and gives her a ticket to this showing, and then later she goes back to get another one. He's almost shy. Like he has a purpose, and it seems like it's nefarious, but he acts like he's a very shy nerd. And so that's kind of an interesting angle for that particular character. But then I don't think you have a picture of her, but the usher, the redhead.
Oh yeah, she's in this. I think she's in that one
right there on the left. So she was in a lot of like Italian horror. This was actually the last film she ever did as an actress, but she was in a lot of classic horror films, including Deep Red by Argento. So like Very attractive, very good actress. I wish her role was a little bit bigger in this, but they had a pretty big cast as it was. But yeah, the idea that our first woman to get transformed is mimicking what's going on the screen is very cool, because even Tony and his sorry about that. Tony and his next girl pimp or prostitutes, like, noticing that there's similarities what's going on the screen to what's happening in the theater. So just a very cool opening, and just a way that stuff starts to unravel within the theater once the second girl pops through the screen there as they're watching the film.
Yeah. So once that happens, she gets basically breaks through the screen of the movie, turns into the demon. Like you see, all hell breaks loose, and she starts attacking people left, right, and centre in the middle of the theatres. For example, this guy gets totally mauled, and everyone's in a panic and they're trying to leave the building. But when they go to leave the building, they now discover that they've actually bricked in. And they cannot escape, so they end up, whoever's surviving or gets through basically the mess of the demons ends up on a balcony. And so the balcony's either got some people who survived the initial attack, or it's got people who've been injured or who have died thanks to the demon. So Tony's idea is to hire all the bodies off the top of the balcony, which in many ways makes sense. So that's what his plan is. But then as he's trying to do that, one of the people that he's trying to hire off becomes a demon, and he ends up getting attacked. He then ends up going over the balcony attached with the dead body and the demon that's attached to him. It's just hilarious. It's just hilarious. Like, some of this, it does, like I say, it does give me Evil Dead vibes, which I know back when this came out, it was probably trying to be a very serious film.
Yeah.
But today, I do think it's more. It does, even though it does have some great effects and a great story. For me, it's more like a horror comedy now. How about you? Do you think it's more like a horror comedy, or do you still see it much as a straightforward horror?
I still see it as a straightforward horror, to be honest.
I'd see it like as a straightforward horror with just a little comedy sprinkled throughout.
Yeah, I think the character, like Tony, would be seen as sort of a comic type character just because he's so outrageous, but overall the vibe is very serious, especially when shit hits the fan. It just becomes more and more serious as we go along.
I also like, as Argento, he also directed Zombie, which was the unofficial sequel to Night of the Living Dead. I feel like he was incorporating some of his zombie movie elements into this as well.
Definitely. What I also think's interesting is you get the bit with the punks. So the next part of the movie is you get the punks, and you've got the two douchebag guys, and you get the youngest girl who's the smoking basically coke off her tits and all this stuff, and it just goes in a total different direction. As a demon does escape the theater and does end up turning them into demons as well, which I always found hilarious as well. But it all comes down where there's only, two survivors in the group. The two survivors, I think it was the guy, George. So George and Cheryl remain the only two unaffected. And
wow, did you really skip ahead? Holy shit. You're missing all the action, man.
Well, help us with this then, Mr. Tony.
Well, they were you going to go back to the punks or what? Because the punks, they're getting chased by the cops, and then they end up coming into the movie theater.
Yeah.
It just so happens the door is open. Nobody else can get out, but and
You can get in, but you can't get out.
right.
Which I always found weird that you could get in, but you couldn't get back out. So,
what do you think?
Because if the door's open, obviously you can just open it and walk in, but obviously you couldn't push it back open. But with enough force, you probably could.
Yeah. Well, there's something more supernatural going on too. You know how that is, and like they can't break windows and stuff. It's like that's all just supernatural bullshit. But
so where am I now? So the punks tried to break in, the get in, and it was like I said before that they end up meeting the demon, and eventually one by one they all become demons themselves and get killed or get attacked.
Yeah,
it's after that.
I was just gonna say there's a scene in there where boyfriend and girlfriend are crawling through a ventilation system, and I always liked it because like she had gotten bitten or scratched at some point, and she was behind him, and they was trying to like get out of there as fast as they can. She's all moaning and crying because she wants to be out of there, but sooner or later you start hearing like scratching noises in the ventilation, and he's like, what's that noise? I think something's coming. It turns out she ends up transforming and gets him at the last minute. Nice little jump scare for those that aren't waiting for that. But that's one of my favorite moments because like you just know it's coming. Hey,
Yeah,
fucking cat farted. Stinks
right in your
so
face.
bad. Stink.
Talking about anime? No.
Another friend of mine right there.
Hello, Mr. Davis.
We're talking about an Italian horror film called Demons.
Hello, Gojira. I didn't say hi.
Oh, is Gojira here? Welcome,
Yes,
Gojira851. Nice to meet you. Not nice to meet you, but nice that you're here. Nice to meet Mr. Davis.
Have you been drinking tonight, Kevin?
No.
You're kind of red, and it's not just your hair. Look at that straight vodka. You animal.
No, this is essence flavored still spring water.
Essence of Demon.
It was.
I could be going red because there's a big fucking burning light in front of my face as well. That doesn't always help.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Share with the class, please.
Yes, if only. Oh, maybe Saturday I'll have a good piss up.
Anyway.
And you see, look, you've distracted us now. I don't know where I am.
All right, well, I'll get back into the soundtrack because, dude, you got Billy Idol in this. You got Accept, Motley Crue, Pretty Maids, Saxon. I mean, dude, just fucking balls to the wall. Great music on the soundtrack for this. I love it to death.
Yeah, some good, and it was that kind of time for them, and like because with especially having the punks in this, it makes perfect sense, to have the punks in this. It was like it fit, the music fit perfectly with the vibe and the feel of the movie that they were trying to give off. But after that incident with the event, I think there were 4 of them left, but one of them, she slowly starts to transform. You get to see her fingers and everything, and then they basically end up killing her. But during that time, I don't think it's George. Oh shit! It's not George.
Not drinking, huh?
Yeah.
Nope.
Right.
I've not been drinking. I swear I have not.
Stopped a long time ago. 6 o'clock.
So George and Cheryl are the only 2 unaffected, and so they end up killing. What's the other girl called? See, you've got us all distracted now.
Cheryl's friend,
Hannah.
Hannah.
So Hannah
She-
transforms.
Yeah.
She scratches Ken.
Uh-oh.
Did he freeze?
You're good now, Kevin. That was a good freeze.
It's like,
It's like you let us on a cliffhanger.
No, it's because you said so I paused.
You did a pretty good pause there.
Right.
got a screenshot of that. Would have been great.
So Ken is then scratched by Hannah, and because he's now been scratched, he knows he's going to become a demon. So he kind of tries to run away, but then George and Cheryl catch up with him, and when they catch up with him, they see that the display that had the mask on, and it had like a giant sword, and he basically wants George to kill him.
This is a great scene.
Oh, an epic scene. You can tell he just wants to die. He doesn't want to become like the rest. Like the rest of the demons that are there, the people that are being transformed. And he's begging George to kill him, but George is so hesitant that it's too late. He ends up turning into a demon. And in the end, George, because he's now a demon, ends up cutting his head off, basically.
Yep.
And this is where it like turned into an episode of the Kamen Rider fucking series, because they end up getting the bike and they end up going up and down the movie theater, fucking slicing up the demons.
Yep.
Which,
yes. That's not the best part, though.
No, it's not.
Like Kevin mentioned that at times this has an Evil Dead feel, and that is something that wouldn't feel out of place in an Evil Dead movie.
No.
Yeah, I could see that. More Army of Darkness, probably. Like it's just wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that there's a dirt bike back in that time, but you know what I'm saying.
Well, there wasn't an Oldsmobile Delta either.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was.
And then the film. Yeah. This is when the film takes kind of an even crazier turn. Because as they're sitting there on the bike, they can hear noises all around, and it sounds like a helicopter.
Yep.
Oh, yes, Logan. Come on, son. And what you call it? They hear the noise of a helicopter. Next thing, it's getting louder and louder and louder. And the next thing, out of nowhere, this helicopter crashes through the roof of the auditorium of the movie theater.
Helicopter.
Which like total plot, change. Just didn't see that coming. Like when any of you were watching this, did you ever expect the fucking helicopter to come crashing through the roof?
Nope.
Nope. So,
but I learned a long time ago when it comes to Italian films, expect the unexpected.
Yeah, especially when, like, if that were to happen, like in a big major Hollywood zombie movie, all of a sudden, like where everyone's just trapped in one place and there's no like signs that anything's going on in the outside world other than what you're seeing on the screen and the helicopter burst through the roof, then everyone would probably look at it and go, well, that's a bit, strange or OTT or not expected.
Yeah.
So what's your opinions so far with this part of the plot, right? They're nearly at the finish line with this helicopter coming through the roof. Tony?
I like it. A lot of action, dismemberment. Unfortunately, everybody's dead for the most part, but Yeah, it's the interesting part, and yeah, I didn't know a helicopter was going to fall through, and then the fact that this uh, movie theater has like props and stuff from actual movies, and some cool posters up as well.
Mm-hmm.
He finds that what do you call it? Catapult? Not a catapult.
Yeah.
Called. Is that what it's called? A catapult?
You know about the repelling equipment he found in the helicopter?
Yeah. Yeah, he found that, and then that's where I think it's like, oh my god.
What you mentioned with the movie posters, like the lobby scene, it's fun to like go back and just rewind that part and try and pick up every little detail there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They got AC/DC and Nosferatu.
The 79 one.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Metropolis.
Yeah.
Metropolis, yeah. And this is where things kind of go a little bit more like bizarre, in my opinion. So at the beginning of the movie, there was a subway scene with this mystery man, and they managed to find a way to get onto the roof. They basically climb using this emergency cable and get up. But when they get to the roof, the mystery man's there with a mask on. And basically, George and the mystery man end up having a bit of a duel where the mystery man is amazingly killed. I love the kill of the mystery man, where he's basically just fucking stabbed into the face by the sword.
Yep.
And the next thing you know, they climb down from the roof. When they climb down the roof, they see that the whole city's kind of like all over the place. They can hear like screaming and explosions and noises and sirens and all that jazz happening in the background. This leads to them getting into they end up finding a car passing which picks them up, and it's like a survivor, like all the survivors or whatever's going on. So clearly some of the demons have obviously must have escaped the theatre and have caused havoc throughout the city. They end up getting into the Jeep and going off, and a man says, look, there's lights in the distance, someone's, it might be somewhere safe to go. And then next thing you know, as the credits begin to roll, you think that it's over, until another big shock at the end. Cheryl suddenly turns around and she's now a demon. She then gets blasted in the side of the head and falls off the side of the car. And George and the rest of the survivors speed off into the distance. Yep. So even the ending is shocking. Even the ending is surprising, and you don't see it coming.
Yeah.
Overall thoughts of like the movie. We'll start with Anthony.
And just extremely like strong finale to overall extremely strong film. I even love how the final scene bleeds over into the credits, which is something you don't see done all that often, but it can be done, like in this case, to just great dramatic effect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Everything now seems to, like, if they're gonna add an extra scene, like I think the Marvel films started the new trend of the post-credit scenes or the mid-credit scenes. They kind of like the new wave of films that do that, but this one took it to a whole different level.
Well, they made it more popular, but I remember going to see like Grumpier Old Men, and they had like the bloopers at the end. A lot of movies in the 90s and that did bloopers, and Marvel was doing what's next kind of thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Keeps you in the theater to, because everybody leaves.
Mm-hmm. Or it'll say, or at the end of the credits, it'll say, I think, was it with like Superman? It said Superman will return, something like that.
That's how James Bond was for a long time.
It was like, James Bond will return, then title drop of the next movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like how the credits end it like this, like Anthony said, where it just keeps on going. And it's like, oh, is there something else? It keeps you intrigued to watch. And maybe there's nothing, but at the same time, maybe there is. So,
Well, that was what was good about King of the Monsters was that as the credits are on, it's drawing up newspaper clippings of news bits about Skull Island and Mothra's egg and stuff like that. So that was always kind of cool that if you didn't hang around, you wouldn't have caught all that.
right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that got you excited too. Like, oh,
I
that's
remember
true.
that one. I remember that one with Skeletor. And it didn't happen.
No, it didn't.
I can't imagine why.
It's a mess of a movie, but I haven't watched
It's
it
a big
for a
mess
long
of it.
time, but I remember having fun with it.
Mm.
I always
surprised.
remember one of those flying things that they fly on, like the hoverboard kind of things. Where are you going? You
So-
don't like Masters of the Universe?
Smart cat.
So for me, this was just a fun watch. I hadn't seen it in a long time, but I've always wanted to rewatch it and get back into it, and I'm glad I did. But now it's time to talk about Demons 2, which I think is not as fun as the first one, but it is. I do think it's a good sequel. But this takes things to the next level in terms of bizarreness. So let's talk a little bit about Demons 2. So Demons 2 is a 1986 Italian horror film. It's directed by the same director, produced by the same producer. It is a sequel to Bava's 1985 film Demons and stars David Knight, Nancy Brilli, Carolina Catali, and as well as Argentino's youngest daughter, Asia Argento, in her debut film performance at the age of 10. In the film, demons invade the real world through a television broadcast during the residence of an apartment building into bloodthirsty monsters. So, just a bit. So that's the only thing I found weird about this. The whole concept of how the demons came about. So you've got different residents of this apartment building, I guess, in Italy. And the next thing you know, you've got the main cast member who's called Sally, who's celebrating her birthday, and she's got a bunch of guests there. You have a next door neighbor who's pregnant with her husband. You have a guy that basically, he has a hooker turn up to have a good time. Then you have, I guess, this reclusive woman with her dog. And then you also have the kids. There's 2 kids involved in this. And the David Knight plays George, Nancy Brilli plays Hannah. You've got Carolina Catatelli Tassoni, she's playing Sally. And this, I'll let Anthony talk a little bit about this one. Talk a little bit about the beginning of this film.
Well, it begins with a narration kind of explaining the last movie, and as it starts, we're watching these characters watch this movie, which it didn't dawn on me until I rewatched the first one yesterday that the movie they're watching is actually meant to be a sequel to the movie from the first film, which is kind of a neat little in reference in the film that I thought was pretty cool. But it just takes some nice time to establish each of the characters and how you have people that they're like almost supernaturally transfixed on this movie. And there's this party going on, and this woman's watching it. And I gotta admit, the demons could have been introduced in a better way because this was just very weird. Like, something happens with the screen, the demon like pops out, she gets attacked, then she becomes one. So it's kind of out there, but I still think it's a interesting but not as strong setup as the first one.
Yeah, I found the setup of this one really bonkers. How the first one felt like it could really happen. You know, obviously some sinister individual set up the movie theater to harness the demons and to release them and awake them by using this setup of this movie, which is actually telling the story of the artifacts that were displayed in the theater, which are used to summon the demons. Where this one doesn't do that. This one simply, it showcases like a direct, what feels like you said earlier, Anthony, a direct sequel to the first fake movie that was being displayed in the movie theater, explaining how it showed you in the fake movie that was being shown on the screen while Sally was watching it, how one of the girls, just like in the first film, cuts her hand on an cuts her hand, and then a finger starts to drip blood onto the deceased demon on the floor. That deceased demon then starts to pulsate and becomes alive again. And just like that, that demon then looks at the screen on the other side and bursts through the screen to basically go into Sally's bedroom and attack her.
Well, the thing that I love about this movie is, and I don't know if you guys caught any of it, but so the TV and screen thing is actually something that the video did later by using that method of how the zombies got out of the TV. They actually did that. So I think that influenced that. Then later we have the kid that's a demon, and he has something come out of his stomach, which I think directly influenced Basket Case too. Yes. So whatever we think about how crazy this is in terms of like how the demons came to be and how they infected everybody, I think it was a huge influence on some of the other horror that we saw later on in other movies, which is kind of interesting.
Well, with stuff coming out of the TVs and all that, that could easily directly see it was influenced by like Poltergeist or influenced Poltergeist. You know, stuff like that, or even that scene with Freddy Krueger where he is the television and bursts out and smashes the woman's head into the television. It could clearly influence that. But yeah, Mr. Tony the Dead, how do you feel about the beginning of Demons 2? It's very bizarre.
I don't know. It's not really. I don't know. I mean, starts off kind of like normal though, right? Like it's just she's having a party and other people in other apartments are doing their thing. The pregnant lady, then you said the kid, the girl with the dog, and they're all watching this Demons movie, which is strange. I don't know why everybody's watching it. It must be like a special or something. I don't know, made for TV movie. But yeah, the whole thing with them watching it and then like they're going there to the girl wants to take pictures, says nobody's ever seen this before, and then of course they find the nail, and then they find the actual demon, and like you said, get the blood and that. Which, how would you not notice your hands dripping like that?
I've had it happen before.
How could a normal person not know that their hand is dripping like that?
Simba, one time at work for the city, I was weed eating some tall grass.
Yeah.
I hit a glass bottle. Shards went flying at me. And about 2 minutes later, I noticed like there's a huge trail just running all the way down my arm.
Yeah, but I feel like you would feel it dripping. I don't know. I just feel like the way that was flowing, but it's a movie, I know. But I thought that was kind of the flash won't work, and then the flash wouldn't work at the party either. So it's like art imitating life, life imitating art kind of thing, you know.
It is.
Well, how far are you up to? Because I had to
pretty much just when the demon burst out of the TV and attacked the girl.
Oh, okay, yeah, Sally.
Mhm.
I hate Sally. This whole movie is because she was a little baby. Because she keeps coming, run into the room and lock herself in there and watch the movie while everybody's out there supposedly getting their cake ready. But it's a party. She knows there's going to be cake. So I don't know why they had to lock her in the room. But she watches it. And that's kind of creepy because he's like turns and he looks. And it's like, oh, shit. And he just comes closer. Yeah.
Yeah, that bit was creepy. Like, I think that scene alone scared me more in the second one than in some of the stuff that went on in the first film when I was a kid.
That I don't think that, but like I used to think like what if they could see you? You know, like if you're looking into a mirror, what if that's another you looking at you? You know, kind of stuff like that.
Also, how about the fact that this takes place in an apartment building, just like Evil Dead Rises?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
So you can definitely see the influences.
Yeah.
But
apartment building, it's such a great setting for a horror film. It's surprising you don't see it more.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you think of other films like Shivers and it works perfectly. Same with Evil Dead Rises. It's such a great way to have some sort of demon infestation. It's a masterful job.
Or in a lesser film, Critters 3.
Yeah.
Poltergeist 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Poltergeist 3 did it too. Yeah.
Well, look, is it the Wreck film that's based in an apartment?
The first two are.
Yeah. Yeah, and Sting with the giant spider, that's based in an apartment in New York. And who can forget Infested?
Yep.
Infested is a brilliant creepy spider movie. If you like your spider movies, check out Infested. We did a review of that not long ago. The Creature Feature Spider edition. So after that happens, you can hear her screaming. The neighbours know that there's a party and she's heavily pregnant, the lady next door, and she wants a piece of cake.
Gotta get some of that cake.
Yep. She wants a piece of cake. So she literally gets up and bangs on the door. But before that happens, we do have a bit that happens. Sally opens her door of her bedroom. She finally walks out to her guest. The other demon suddenly has disappeared and is nowhere to be found. But Sally you can tell there's something not quite right with that. And then next thing you know, the events that happened in the first movie begin to happen in the sequel. She begins to transform.
She'll stand there and watch her.
Oh, that happens a lot. I'm like, dude, the minute I saw anything crazy, I'm gone.
Right?
What made me laugh?
Maybe you'd be like, try to catch my fat ass because I'm outrunning you.
I need the head start.
Yeah.
What made me laugh is she's like, her face is changing as we've just seen, but then she grabs the hold of the guy next to her's arm and her hands start to change and he's digging into her hand and he's like, as just transforming. Which
Nobody's
is just,
like pushes her off of them or like, holy shit. Like,
they're just like,
just Sally.
What can we say? He must have been a dickhead. He must have deserved it. I don't know. But that bit was bizarre. But then, of course, Sally herself looks incredible once she's transformed.
That's one thing I did like about this one a lot too, was I love the green colorization to the demons. Like that really stood out a lot in this. I thought that was like really nasty and gory. I just think it's so good.
Look, I think the demons look better in the second one. Like, well, at least Sally does. With the transformations.
Like, the best shots with them are still like the long distance shots in the stairwell where you see like the glowing eyes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So basically, Sally transforms and she just fucking massacres everyone basically in the party. And that's when the neighbor goes, I want a bit of cake. I want a bit of cake. Yeah. So she goes banging on the door. Sally, thank God, doesn't answer. So she then, goes back because no one's answering the door. So she goes to her, I'm assuming her husband, the father of her unborn child. I still want a bit of cake. I still want cake. I still want a bit of cake. So he then obviously puts his coat on and heads towards the elevator. Earlier on, you got the scene of a lady entering the building with lovely blonde hair. She is a beautiful lady. She basically is a hooker.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And she thinks he is too.
Yes.
Oh, did you just get there working?
She was eyeing him up pretty hard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Guy looks like he's auditioning to play Clark Kent.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So basically, he meets her in the elevator after she's done the deed with the dirty neighbor, and basically they're on their way down the elevator. There is blood that is in the apartment after Sally starts, I don't know, convulsing and all this liquid starts coming out of her. And it hits the floor, a carpet, it then melts through the carpet, and then melts through basically like some of
Xenomorph.
I was going to say, just like out of Aliens, it mutates and melts through all the building till it gets to the spa on the very bottom floor. The gym and the spa. When it gets to the gym and the spa, there's a man having a lovely sauna and it starts dripping on his head. You see this lovely naked woman relaxing, having a sunbathe. There's a dog called, I think the dog's Henry, is in the apartment growling at this splatter of melted blood on the floor. It then turns back to the sauna where the woman who's having a lovely sunbathe, you see the sauna, which has been totally ripped apart, and it's totally wide open, and then it's revealed. Well, it's a movie, Anthony.
She was that relaxed. I don't know.
And she winds up getting a better tan than she bargained for.
Oh. Because next thing you know, bare ass and all, you see the demon hands reach for the sun lounger and press it onto her skin. It basically gives her a nice tanned ass and a rest. And then you come back to the apartment with Henry the dog and his owner. And Henry is still just staring at the floor and is walking backwards and forwards when the neighbour finally turns and goes, "What's wrong, Henry?" And she sees the blood. But then I was hoping this wasn't going to happen, but someone told me it was going to happen. And unfortunately, Henry, not you, Henry then begins to transform into this hideous creature
No way that
which
wasn't
attacks
inspired
his
by
owner
John
and mauls her
Carpenter.
to death.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I
His
keep looking at it. It looks
transformation
like
was
Oh, definitely.
fucking goblin shark.
yeah. Oh yeah. His transformation that was like hard to watch. It was like, ooh, I could watch people with the dog. I'm like, oh man, that
At
looks
least
like
it
it
wasn't a
hurts.
cat.
Yeah.
Mhm. Well, I think a fucking cat demon would probably be a lot more dangerous and savage, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
With the glowing eyes, that'd be cool. A cat running around. Do 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 meow. Do, 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 do,
So
do,
the cat
meow.
already has the glowing eyes.
Yeah.
so once she's been mauled, we'll then get to the scene where the hooker and George are in the elevator and the lights suddenly go out and power basically shuts down.
Yeah, because that blood dripped all onto the
Forget
electricity.
when we went to the gym, we also met the best character in this film.
Again, same dude.
Yep. Exact same dude, just different profession.
Yep.
Like,
His twin brother.
I wonder if he was
Yes.
a pimp.
Can I just say, that is the weirdest gym I've ever seen in my life. Just guy walking around going, yeah, come on, lift it. Come on. Yeah. Nobody does that. An owner.
I don't know, but dude, those dudes were like diehards. Like they were throughout the fucking almost entire movie. They're pumping iron, dude. They're just like, I ain't
Yeah.
stopping. I don't care if it's midnight. I'm
Yeah,
just gonna
they're
keep going.
If you go to like dedicated hardcore weightlifting gym, you are going to see people like that there.
Mm-hmm.
But none of us know that. Maybe Kevin, he's the ripped one.
Oh, just I can just hear the fucking motorbike there.
Oh, sorry.
That was loud. I thought it was a growl that you were doing.
I know, that's why I looked up. I thought, fuck me, there's someone's.
I forgot I had
Like,
the window open.
I thought myself,
You
it's
got a
just like
demon there.
I thought it's just like the helicopter. There's going to be a motorbike come through someone's wall.
I gotta go. My boyfriend's here. He's got his motorcycle.
We gotta escape the demons. Kevin's gotta jump on the back.
Yeah.
I'll be fucking out of here.
Sorry, Ma, Dad, gotta go.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is where they're trapped in the elevator, the lights go off, and then you have that other epic scene where the demons are coming out to burst through Sally's apartment door, and they're going across the corridors and they're heading down the building. And this is where you see the hooker and George, and there's a gap in the elevator, and they see Sally and the demons, and basically they shit the pants. Because they're like, what the hell is going on? But George's first reaction is he needs to go and save his wife, Hannah. And then you've got the bodybuilders all enjoying themselves down in the gym. Mr. Anthony, do you want to take it from here?
Well, at this point, it's just I'm trying to think, because this film doesn't stick with me as much as the first one, but we have like the real in-your-face bodybuilders, and he's just, go, you can do better than that, then going to the next person, and the same actor, just same great over-the-top acting. And we have the attack in the gym, and this guy, to his credit, much like the first one, like he begins like organizing everyone and getting them to arm whatever they can. And again, you could tell like he was having just as much fun in this one as he was in the last one. And like the next part, it's just we see more stuff happening with our characters, and we just see the story split out where we have different groups and different things happening. And Argento's daughter, she winds up in the downstairs crew with the weightlifters and stuff, who wind up barricading themselves in the parking garage and just plan to make a final stand.
Now, the next bit I think is really bizarre. With the boy. So the boy, Hannah's waiting for her husband. She escapes Sally, who tries to attack her. Oh, sorry, the boy escapes Sally, who tries to attack him. The next thing you know, you think he's safe, but he's kind of poisoned, and he then transforms into a demon himself, and he goes after Hannah. Hannah fights him off, but she thinks she's defeated him, but suddenly this bizarre thing happens. This horrible little fucking thing comes bursting out of him and goes after Hannah. Now, out of all the things in this film, that was the most bizarre and the thing that shocked me the most. What did you think, Anubis?
Yeah, I mean, well, again, like, even though I'd seen this, I'd seen this probably before I saw Basket Case too, but immediately when it happened, rewatching it, I immediately went to that movie. I said, oh my God, this is so similar to what we just talked about in Basket Case too. And, but you got this weird, like, creature that's coming out of the stomach area of this kid. And you don't ever see it on any other demon that's in any of the movies. Like, this is the only time it's happened. And apparently the actor portraying the kid is like a dwarf who's actually portraying the kid as a demon form. So it was pretty interesting there too. They didn't use an actual kid for it, but I don't know. Yeah, it was pretty crazy, man. That whole scene went on for a little while, and it was just really, really interesting how it got out and was chasing her around the apartment. And just certainly very bizarre for a demon movie with these two films, because it's the only time you see that happen.
And look, Italian horror films, like you said, not only expect the unexpected, but nobody is safe in these films.
Yeah. These back then, it was like with films like this, like even if you had a favorite character or a favorite actor, you didn't know who was going to be the winner, who was going to be the survivor, because anybody could have died and anyone could have survived in these kind of movies. But what ends up happening is George and the hooker try to get up to Hannah's apartment. Along the way, Sally attacks a security guard who turns into the demon. Then the hooker is attacked. She then becomes a demon and goes after George. This all, he fends them all off, and he ends up in the apartment just in time to save Sally from this flying fucking thing, which was just absolutely crazy. And then we get to the best bit of it all. The best bit where the bodybuilders have barricaded themselves in to the underground car park. And Hank, that's the name of the body. He was Tony in the first one. He's called Hank in this one. Hank the bodybuilder. Hank the wank. So Hank literally, with the bodybuilders, it's him versus the demons. Mm-hmm. And basically, if they're not dead, they die, or they get transformed into demons. Now the building being completely transformed into demons, they all end up making their way up to the building. Gradually making their way all through the building, and this is where George and Hannah have to try and escape it all to survive. Oh, you're being dumped, Tony, by your boyfriend. He's drove away. So, the infected make their way up to the building. George causes a leak in the gas pipe that kills all the infected except for Sally. Tony's favorite character has survived. He must be over the moon.
Yeah, over the moon.
Yeah, so when he lit the gas up and killed all the people, I was like, I quite enjoyed that bit, but I'm thinking there's got to be at least one of them. I was hoping it was going to be Hank. There was going to be a massive battle between Hank, the bodybuilder, and George.
It was like there was just too much movie left not to be all of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, the beat everywhere. Sally, except Sally and Hank and George enter Sally's apartment, finding the two hidden partygoers. The four make their way to the roof, but are stopped by Sally. And I always remember this particular scene with Sally, where she's running at them like a fucking crazy bitch.
That shit's crazy, though.
Yeah.
That'd have me running.
Give me my cake.
She goes running after them.
To me.
Yeah. So, and then, but Sally, they go inside the neighbor, and so to get onto the roof, if I memory serves it right, because I only watched this 2 days ago and I fucking forgot about it already.
It doesn't stick with you in your mind as much as
there's a lot going on.
Yeah, they do a lot more switching around between the characters in this one.
Yeah. It's fucking
probably, even though I still enjoy this one, probably to the extent that it's to the film's detriment.
Yeah.
So basically, the thing that beat Sally, the thing that defeated Sally, and they get to the other apartment building on the other side, and then all of a sudden Hannah begins to give birth, and she gives birth to a child. And just as you think everything safe, Sally, who's now blinded, comes after them. And it basically ends, the whole film ends where you think everything's saved, you think Sally's been defeated, the demon threat is over. And then the next thing you know, you see different televisions all around. And it begins to start flashing, and, you think, what the fuck's going on? And then the next thing you know, it's a scene of Sally running towards the television. So basically, how she was infected, she's about to do the same to people around the world. So basically, the demon infection could become a worldwide pandemic.
Yep.
So
who was expecting her to give birth to a demon?
Me. I was totally thinking that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Apparently,
I was so surprised it didn't.
In the original script, the baby was supposed to be a demon and rip through her stomach, but they wanted a happy ending. I would have loved to have seen that. I was expecting it, so.
Yeah.
I was expecting it to be hung.
That thing must have came out done. She had the quickest birth in the world.
Yeah.
He didn't even have to cut the umbilical cord. It was already done.
Yeah.
I was expecting to be Hank the dog pop out.
What?
That would have been a bizarre ending.
Yeah, so I did not expect the happy ending that would happen. I totally thought that we were going to get that whole gotcha moment at the end. I was like, okay, it's coming. It's coming.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. The ending for me isn't as memorable as the ending of the first one.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Mm-hmm. And even so, what's your overall thoughts of the second movie, gentlemen? So we'll start with Anthony Jordan.
I like it, but it's definitely flawed, especially compared to the first one. But at the same time, there's no shame not being as good as that movie.
Tony.
Well, I know when I told you I saw Demons 2 once.
Mm-hmm.
And I rewatched it for this, and I do like it more. It's a lot more fun. I think what ruined it for me the first time was the dog. I'm like, why is the dog changing? That's dumb.
Mm-hmm.
But rewatching this, it's neat to see on the apartment building different people. I didn't care about anybody, to be honest. I just wanted to see what happened to them. There's no, I mean, not that there's not character development, but I didn't care who died.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, watching it again, I like it more now. So that's good. Yeah, I still like the first one more. I think it's a better story and the ending and overall. But this one, kind of interesting. Goddamn motorcycle.
He wants to have a talk.
Well, you know, it's 40 some degrees out. Why not? Let's ride around.
Anubis.
Yeah, pretty much as those guys said. I mean, it's not near as good as the first one, but there's still some endearing qualities about the second one that I really like. And again, even now looking at it, I can't say for 100% certainty that it influenced these other films that I brought up, but you can't really ignore the similarities either. Like they're all there. So it's just very interesting for a film that may not be near as strong as its debut. It still has a lot of things that it seems like other directors took from it and got ideas for.
Now, the only thing I want to touch on a little bit more is something you mentioned, Anubis. I never got a chance to watch it, but there was apparently a third film because this was planned to be a trilogy.
Yeah.
And apparently you said there's a film that basically could be conceived as Demons 3 called The Church. So what was that one about, if you don't mind us asking?
Well, the original concept, I'm not sure now. Apparently they did make a sequel novelization that was written by Bava, which apparently is maybe slated for this year. I don't know. They haven't mentioned in the wiki, but they did. Bava and Argento did have a script ready to do Demons 3 called Demoni 3, but it got axed at some point and it just changed hands. But interestingly enough, our masked man from the first one, Michele Salve, is the one that directed The Church. And so that's why I've always kind of indirectly considered The Church a trilogy anyway, as part of that whole thing. Even though it's not really connected, it still deals with demons and has Asia and all the works in it. So everything, even the vibe of the film is very much in the same vein. So like, I still like that. And I still kind of correlate it towards the first two Demons films.
It really feels like he shot it as though it was intended to be Demons 3, but they just changed whatever they had to so it would be legally distinct.
Right. I don't think you would have had permission to actually call it Demons 3 because that would have still been under Bava and Argento, I'm assuming, even though Argento still had ties to The Church as well.
Well, I've got a bit of information here. A sequel novel, Demons 3, or Demon 3, The Rebirth, was written by Lamberto Bava and published by Cut Up Publishing in 2025. The plot involves the demons shifting from television to social media in order to spread.
Yeah.
What do you mean? So it's basically the real world as we know it.
Yeah, so I think it was actually, if from what Wiki's saying, like it was supposed to be written this year, even though that might be wrong. It's definitely more modern take. So if it was written today or filmed today, it would be dealing with like social media as we have it now.
Yeah. And I know the actress Garetta who plays is it Ruth? Who plays this character?
Yeah.
She's actually been pursuing trying to get a sequel made.
Yeah, she's actually very proud of the film and very active in Comic-Cons and stuff for her role in that. She from what I understand, she's a very, very pleasant person, and
that's what I heard too.
Yeah,
she seems that like when I seen like some posts that she did, she always seems smiling and happy.
Yeah,
yeah, but I know she's like been really trying to push for a sequel to be, because she's not just an actress, apparently she's also a director and a producer. So I don't know what film she's directed or what she's produced in. But something on Fangora. Horror icon Garetta joining forces with Lamberto Bava, Kansas Bowling, Claudia Simonetti, and Simon Boswell for a fresh take on classic 80s horror. This was last updated on March the 16th, 2024. So
Yeah,
the
she showed up in because that's where I remember seeing her. She showed up in In Search of Darkness Part 2, that documentary that Shudder was doing, and so they have bits with her talking about demons and stuff like that. So that's why I say, like, I think she's just very, very active in the horror sphere, and she's like very she's one of the more from the cast to like speak on good behalf of demons. Like, she still talks about it a lot, very proud of that film. So
Mhm. Oh well, that's good. Like I do. I think the first one's more memorable than the second one. I think with the second one, I think what really put me off was basically how the demons came about. Like, I loved the first one, the mystery of the artifact, and how if you scratch it, basically it starts this demon infection or plague that spreads. Where I just think the concept of, it's automatically, you've got to accept that it's something that's coming through the television. I just found that concept just too bizarre. Unless they had some sort of, like, something that was discovered that something's affected, I don't know, like a TV network's transmitter that transmits.
that's why I tried to go to see like if the Video Dead was first, but it actually came a year after this. So like I was thinking maybe that part of it was influenced by the Video Dead, but it's actually in reverse. The only thing I can think of is because they took the angle in the first one where it was mimicking the film, that maybe that's how they were going to approach it in the second one. Like, okay, we're going to show this film, someone brings a demon back to life, and that somehow is how it's going to infect, everyone in the modern day.
Yeah, like, it's a shame they didn't do something like where you're seeing somebody at a television station and he's got a cassette which has got the film of the demon on. Like something like The Ring, where he plugged it into the actual the television network's equipment, plugs the tape in, plays the movie, but anybody who watches it, it summons the demons out. Just something quick like that to highlight how it started.
Or what if it was like a 3D broadcast and like she was watching it with the glasses on, and that's what enabled the demon to come out through the TV?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's like, obviously it's like Halloween, like 3, with the masks and all that. There's an answer why the masks do what they do, because it's because of this, like, this company, this evil company that's causing all this problem. That I just wanted like some sort of origin, I guess, to why this was happening.
It's a half-baked idea.
Mm-hmm. But if you had to rate Demons 1 and 2, how would you rate them? We'll start with Anthony.
First one, I'll go 10 out of 10. Second, maybe a 6 out of 10. I still like it, but it definitely does fall short from the first film. But if you got an afternoon to kill and you're looking for a good double feature, you can do a lot worse than Demons and Demons 2.
I agree. Mr. Tony of the Dead.
I don't know. Demons 1. I don't want to say 10. I would say like a 9. Like, I really, really do like it, but
another one.
It's not
I've
perfect.
Never seen the Demons.
Never. And 2, I probably agree with Anthony. Probably a 6.
Mm-hmm.
I still like it, but if I was going to pick one, I'd put in the first one.
Mm.
But they're totally too. Here's another thing too. If you think about it, I didn't mean where he sees them through the TV, and that they always say like the TV's a portal to another world. Well, maybe you think of it like that too, like it's a portal. I don't know. It's. I would like to know why though, like why this shit is actually happening.
Yeah. That's the only thing that's never going to be answered, unfortunately. Mr. DJ Anubis.
So I'm there with Anthony. The first one's a 10 out of 10 easily for me. I can go back to that film at any point and watch it.
Mhm.
The only disagreement I have with the two guys below me is that the second one I give more like an 8. I still really enjoy that film. There's a lot of cool things about it. It does have its major flaws compared to the first one, but again, if I'm in the mood, I can just pop it in with no problem and still watch it.
Mhm.
Those pair of movies, including The Church, even though it's not really a sequel, it's just I can binge all of them with no problems.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm at the point where I would say yes, Demons. The first one is definitely a 10 out of 10. The second one, I would say I'm going to go a little bit higher than Anthony and Tony, but at one below Anubis, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Like I say, apart from the weird beginning and no explanation on how this thing starts, the rest of the movie, once you get past the initial beginning, I think it's still a fun movie. And I agree with what Anubis said. I like the fact that they changed things up and they give some more definition to the look of the demon with the green skin. I really think it highlighted the transformation better. And that fucking flying little fucking bastard demon thing.
It kind of reminded me of like Sorority Babes, like that little demon from Sorority Babes.
Like that just fucking boiled. That just got on my tits, basically.
Well, it was annoying because like just stab it in the head. I know you're pregnant, but Jesus, like it was just driving me crazy. Like that kind of shit in the movie. It's like, come on, or run out the door. Let it chew its way out.
Yes,
But the way it died, though, I was like, yeah, like, yeah, you little fuck, die.
I agree. And like I say, I haven't seen The Church. It would have been nice because this was meant to be a part of a trilogy. It would have been nice if they got round and had the funding and filmed the third part, because maybe the third part would have explained how the origins of how the demon was able to get into the television and then progress, worse the way we are now with it. Yeah. But we'll never know. But this has been fun, boys, as always. I love doing me Into the Darkness. I love talking horror with you guys. Mr. DJ Anubis, what's coming up on the Metal Tavern Radio?
Well, tomorrow, I will actually have the couple of gentlemen below me joining me at 1 p.m. Eastern for my pick for Ghouls of Midnight, which will be The Exorcism of Emily Rose. I think we might have Sentry on that too. Hopefully he can make it. Then later in the evening, Tony and I will be doing his pick, which is Shimmer Me Shivers, which Popeye is the Popeye horror film. What is it?
Popeye the Slayer Man.
That's not how it's listed on IMDb. They listed it as something else. I don't know. I don't care. It's about Popeye. That's all I fucking know.
Yes, it is.
It's not your normal Popeye. It's a horror Popeye.
Have you actually watched it yet, Anubis?
Not yet. I'm going to do it right before we do it because I just want to remember everything in case I hate it. So
I have a feeling we're going to both hate it.
Uh-oh.
So, I didn't watch it. I just had low expectations.
Yeah, I do know that. I do know that because it's Popeye, it's not related to the Blood and Honey movies. With
you were telling me that the other day. I thought it might be, but it's not.
Yeah, but you've also got that. Is it the Mickey Mouse Steamboat Willie film out as well?
Bambi. All that stuff.
Bambi, reckon, and I know that's part of the Winnie the Pooh horror series. So's Peter Pan Nightmares, Pinocchio No Strings, and there's another one.
3 Goldilocks and the 3 Bears, Blood and Porridge, I think it's called.
Yeah, probably. But Thursday, debuting my new podcast series called Vintage Cult Cinema, and Gorgiro851 is going to be joining me for my first episode as we do Killing Zoe from 1994. And then Friday, I'll be guesting with Fat Samurai Guy and author Rick Myers for Action Film Autopsy. So that's pretty much what I got going on right now.
Nice. Anthony Jordan.
Well, I just recently uploaded my Godzilla vs. Hedorah I need to do my Godzilla versus Gigan, and on Kevin's suggestion, I at least want to do a brief review of Mississippi Burning with Gene Hackman and Willem Dafoe, but that's even going to be easy for me editing because I'm just going to talk about the film and paste the movie poster in the corner of the screen. We got like Anubis said tomorrow I'm going to be with on Ghouls of Midnight, and we're going to be talking Emily Rose. Thursday with you for Space Amoeba, and Friday I get to partner with Gojira 851, and we get to educate you and hopefully all of you watching now on the Mobile Suit Gundam franchise.
Looking forward to that, yes. Mr. Tony.
Just ghouls, depending on how life goes in the next few days. I was planning on doing my unboxing for Vinegar Syndrome, and I got some things in. Like, I have most of my movies, pretty much all my movies still packed away, so I can't do like a collection update or anything, but I have things I want to do. But like I said, life, I don't know what the hell's going to happen. So, but yeah, and then Space Amoeba with you, and that's it for right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a good night for the Sci-Fi Collective and all that. As for me, like the gentlemen have stated, Thursday I'm going to be doing the Kaiju Connections, Classic Kaiju Review, Space Amoeba. Friday, of course, my new segment, Education, being educated on Mobile Suit Gundam. The following week, I might have a few reviews because I have actually not long finished watching the film Locked with Bill Skarsgård and Anthony Hopkins, which was quite an interesting film. So I'm going to be doing a movie review of that. I've just seen it's not a brand new vampire movie, but it's a vampire movie that's dropped on Netflix. It's got Guy Pearce in. It looks similar to Sinister, which is due out with Michael B. Jordan. I'm going to check that out, do a review of that. And potentially Novocaine, which I've also not long finished. So those 3 reviews, them 2 streams, and then hopefully in the next couple of weeks, I think it's April the 4th, I'll be with DJ Anubis, potentially Anthony Jordan, and if you want to join us as well, Mr. Tony the Dead Talking, Tom Cruise and Tim Curry, legend, on the retro show that I do. But
I think Goji wants on that too.
Yes, we'll try and make it work if I can. But that's everything coming up on all our channels. Thanks everybody who's tuned in. This has been Into the Darkness. This is the Entertainment Headquarters. Please like, share, and subscribe to all these amazing individuals whose YouTube channels will be in the description box below. So everybody, thank you and good night. Catch you on the next one.